everybody. Welcome to another Monday Night Live where we interview all the authors from our upcoming anthology that is going to drop on October 18th. We are going to have a Podcast Babes book launch, which you will want to come to. Let me get one of my first authors up and running. We're going to interview 3 more authors tonight. I'm so excited about that. Woohoo! All right. So now my Instagram is working a little bit better. I don't know what was going on before, but I had to restart. All right, let's see. Let's get my girl up here. Here she is. It's still a little wonky. Sometimes Instagram is super temperamental, like me. Hello, beautiful lady.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you. This, my friends, is Lorena Ortiz. I just want to start by saying how you are such an amazing person, and the way that we know each other is you are actually my mentor who has become really good friends in the world of real estate and all things involving Pace Morby and Sub2 and all these beautiful things that you've been really guiding me and teaching me about in these last, I don't know, it's over a year, so maybe 2 years or something like that.
It seems that way, right? Time flies when you're having fun.
I think it is, because I remember first reaching out to you when I tore my ACL, because I was trying to buy a property and things just didn't work out because I tore my ACL, and then we reconnected a year after that, and I think it's been almost 3 years since I tore my ACL. So I think we're about 2 years into our relationship. And you have shown up for me in such an amazing way. If y'all don't know about this woman, she is just such a positive person, always looking to help people. That's my favorite thing about you, is that you do things from the bottom of your heart, and you really want to create a legacy, and a legacy of lifting others up. And that's what inspires me most about you. And you just really have had my back in everything. And so what happened was we were doing all these other side things together, and then you started creating your podcast around real estate, and I was like, babe, you have to be a podcast babe. And It was perfect timing because we started writing this book together.
You know, I number one, thank you so much for having me on. That's first and foremost. Number two is I love you dearly. You're the sister. I've never met you in person, but we've connected in so many different levels, like you said. From the beginning, it's, we have each other's back, and you and the podcast babes, right? You guys have shown me a true community where you actually have this, I have your back. Right? Because as people will read in my chapter, they're going to go through different chapters, right? But when they get to my chapter, they're going to see a side of me of like, I've always been on guard. I've always I've always felt like I've needed to protect myself because people don't always have the best interest. And here with this group, like, you have introduced me to a group of ladies that literally you don't have to know each other face to face, but have shown true, genuine love and support and empowerment and encouragement for people to actually move forward and speak their truth, right? So it's the vibe that you attract, and you're such an incredible woman, and I'm super excited to be part of this book. We all get to share.
Me too. So one thing that kind of inspired me to write this anthology in this particular way is that I have kind of just been on this journey recognizing how the more you get to know people, the more you realize that everybody has had some kind of struggle, right? Whether it's something that they dealt with in childhood, something that they dealt with in adulthood, some kind of relationship issue, a health issue. And so, sometimes we tend to think that we're the only ones that have this burden, or that nobody understands, or how am I ever going to get through this? But when you talk to people, you recognize that it's like, this is a universal thing. Like, we have pain, but it doesn't have to be suffering. And so you can actually take that pain and turn it into power.
100%. And I think that, there's so many different levels of pain, right? I always say, if life would be 100% perfect, there would be no excitement. It would be boring, right? I don't want everything to be perfect in my life. I do want to go through the roller coaster rides because it educates us. It helps us go through through the ups and downs. It helps us learn on how to cope with them, how to make things better, how to improve. You create an opportunity out of every moment that presents itself, whether it's a good or bad one. And there's so many different levels of pain, and it all depends on how you react to those pain, those pressure points, right? There are some things that are going to just take you down a little bit, and you may just need to make some slight adjustments, but then there's some others that are really heavy. And how do you cope with
Yeah.
that? And you know there's so many different people out there in the world going through different types of struggles, and they're like, oh my God, this can't be I can't be the only one this is happening to. How do I deal with this? How have others dealt with this, right? And which is so awesome about us being able to share our different stories in this book, because it gets people to relate on
Yeah.
how, you know pain pain is a opportunity. You just have to see that pain is an opportunity. Just kind of like keep moving and learn how to adapt from that. And I love that everybody has different pain struggles that are being explored right in the book, because that allows everybody to really understand, wow, I can't imagine what it is to be in that person's shoes. Like I've been
Yeah.
hearing stories right through this whole journey with you guys, with you ladies. It's like, wow, you would have never thought that that person went through that. You see, they're always saying, don't judge a book by its cover, and you want to make sure, because you don't know what the other person is going through and how they're coping with their situation. So it's always great to understand, how you can cope with pain, how you can make positive and make light of it, and not allow you to to sink in it. So I think there's always
Yeah.
an opportunity there.
I could not agree with you more, my dear. It everything in life is an opportunity to become better, stronger, smarter, right? It's all about what you focus on. And
Absolutely.
and so for you in your chapter, um take us to a moment where you started really feeling your pain turning into power, or something that you did to start turning your pain into power. What were some of those initial moments?
you know there are so many different there's so many moments in somebody's life, right? Depending on your age is how many more of those moments you're gonna have, right? But there are so many different moments, and I have to tell you that above all, when I the most that I the when I really start feeling the pain, and like I really don't know what else to do, I just leave it to God. I
Yeah.
turn to prayer. I turn to prayer, and I ask for guidance, and I ask for support, because I mean, we always think that we know best, right? And that we know what the right thing for us to do is, and that is not necessarily the truth, right? There's something bigger and better out there for you. You may not know that, or there's a different route, or there's a timing situation, right? So when I'm a perfectionist, I try to keep things in the sense of like things have to be a certain way, because I'm a planner, and I want to make sure that everything's following a certain track. So like when I'm starting to feel, when I started to feel through this pain, like I'm like, God, I need guidance. Send me a sign, like let me know if what I'm planning is not what I need. Then just give me a sign, like show me a different way, right? But I can tell you that the most recent life-changing pain that I've gone through, right, was just a few years ago, where I actually moved into real estate after a transition phase, because I had been in corporate America for, since I was 18 years old. And the last 17 years at this corporate job that I had been amazing, but the last year in particular, I had gone through like a horrible, horrible, horrible experience with my boss. And I
Mm.
had gone through I was in a very depressive state. I was just in a bad space all around, that at times I even felt embarrassed of being in that, allowing it to get me to that point.
Yeah.
However, you know, I turned to prayer, support of my family, and then they went ahead and like all the support they gave me, and it was just the right time. Something happened. You guys will read it in the book, but something happened that just said, you know what, this is it. I'm quitting. And the moment that I just told my family, listen, I don't need I don't need you guys to try to talk me out of this or try to do, one thing or another. I just need your support, right? Because I'm moving forward through this and I'm making a decision for my life, not for guidance from anybody else. Like I'm making my own decision. And a lot of times you don't put yourself first. You put everybody else first. At least that's the type of
Yeah.
person I am.
Uh-oh, I don't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened.
Ooh,
There we
can
go.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, much better.
Oh, perfect. There are times where, you don't put yourself first, and then it's like you have to stop that. You need to understand what is going to be best for you, what's going to be better for your health, and you need to kind of like take a step back, make that decision. I'm telling you, when I turned that page and said, I am quitting on this day, like I called myself on this day, which is the day after my birthday in October, I'm quitting, and that's it. Like I planned it. I felt this huge sense of relief because it was like, oh my God, that's it. I know there's the light
Yeah.
at the end of the tunnel. I'm not dealing with this anymore,
Yeah, totally. I love that. And sometimes that's all it takes is that very next step or that very next insight, right? And I love what you said about prayer. And I find that that happens to be a common thread in a lot of people's chapters. It even shows up in my chapter, right? There's definitely a lot of prayer that came up with me when in the middle of different transitions that I've had. And one of the things I talk about in my chapter is this book that I read where there's this line in a prayer that talks about how that we should not look at things from our limited view, right? It talks about how there's just a more greater, more expansive view. And even though I kind of always knew that, the way that they put it in the prayer just really had me um, understand that, you know what? There, like you're saying, there has to be a bigger picture to all of this. And I think that that's a really great tip for anybody listening is like, just know that there's always more to this, right? Like there's a bigger picture. Even if you don't believe in the universe and God and all those things, just know that there's always a bigger picture. If you kind of like zoom out, right? Like when we're in the box, when they're in the middle of something, it can be so hard to see where like our next step is or the way out or whatever it is, right?
Agreed 100%. And I think many people could relate in the sense of like, you're working on something so hard and something that's so, there's so much detail in it, right? Maybe you're working on a report, you're working on a specific project and you're trying to figure things out. And then all of a sudden you're like, I can't figure this out. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a breath. I'm going to step back. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go meditate. I'm gonna take a breather, right? And then when you come back, you're like you have a fresh set of eyes. Even just a small moment of you stepping
Yes.
away from the problem and stepping away from the pain and trying to find yourself, reconnect with yourself, center yourself, right? Once you have that and you take away all the craziness that may be going on in your head, it gives you an opportunity to see it in a little bit more zoomed out, like you said.
Yes, I could not agree more. And so I know, because I know you have a little bit of like a morning routine, morning ritual. As you were writing this book, did you have any more rituals or did that ritual help you, your morning routine to write this chapter?
Absolutely. I think number one, I have ADHD, and that's something like a late discovery in my life. So in the very, very recently have I been diagnosed with the ADHD, and understanding, the first thing I do when I wake up is prayer, right? And I created a journal so I can note every day like what I'm grateful for, like giving myself a structure so that way I can go ahead and ensure that I'm taking care of myself, and then I'm manifesting, my day. I'm planning my day correctly. But I always want to start my day with prayer and being grateful for what I do have, even just the opportunity of being able to open my eyes that morning, right? And seeing a brand new day and be able to see my family and my friends. That is the first thing that I do every day. So it's just trying to, it's about being consistent and just continuing and building onto that, right? So it's like, how can I improve? And that journal that I've created is an opportunity where I can actually plan improvements? What can I stop doing? What can I continue doing? What can I give to others? Because sometimes we want to do it all. As a woman, I know that I want to, have my family here, and it's like, I need to do something. I'll take care of it for you. And I have a million things on my plate, but there's also things that I could delegate to others, right? So I think it's just those rituals of praying, being grateful, and being able to manifest and plan my future has been something that has really helped me through this journey.
I love that.
Book writing.
So good. So good. So I love all this flow and the planning and everything really coming together to create the chapter. And sometimes there can be a little bit of resistance. Did you have any resistance, like putting your truth out there into this chapter? Did anything come up for you like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, number one, I'm going to tell you, resistance number one is my ADHD, and that's like a natural one that comes in every day, because it's like there is like I need to be focused on a certain thing, and sometimes I can just lose track of that, right? So even the procrastination, like I need to be in the moment to start flowing. So I was like, oh my God, are people really going to be interested in my story, like from my experiences? And am I saying too much? Am I bringing too much into the picture? Because when you're saying discuss, a pain point and how you turn that into power, there's so many thoughts that came into my head. Like I started writing about like a gazillion different types of pain points, but I'm like, focus. It's like trying to focus and helping people understand there's a broader picture, right? But just focus and be present in the moment of what you're going through and try to make better of that situation. So yes, definitely ADHD, which procrastination, but then like my juices were flowing everywhere, and it's like, oh my God, like I can't stop writing. And then it's like, okay, wait a second, I have too many things on here, so it's been a wonderful experience. So but it reminded me that people do need to hear the story, and that my story matters and everybody's story matters. And once again, if there's anything, is like, don't judge a book by its cover, because you don't know what that person has gone through or what they're going through, because they may not have answered you the right way that you were hoping for, or whatever in that specific moment. So just be a little bit more open-minded.
I agree, and I love that. And that's something that has kind of opened up even more for me. I've always felt that way, where you say that you never know what somebody's going through, and we should have more compassion and more kindness. But after reading everybody's chapter, it opens up even more for me. I was in tears so many times through so many chapters, and if I wasn't tears, I was thinking like, wow, you're so strong, or I totally get it, or inspired of like, wow, like taking the cards that you were dealt and turning it into something beautiful. So it really did help me to see that everybody in this planet is going through something here on Earth School.
Right? And at different levels, right? Because some people may be going through a pain point that is it could be light to me, but it's not light to them. So, right, you can't really expect people to react a certain way based on the pain that they're going through, because everybody's different. So that's important.
I could not agree with you more, my love. So thank you so much for coming. I want you guys to join us on October 18th so you can hear more about Lorena's story and hear more about everybody's story who participated in the anthology. It's going to be an amazing workshop. There's going to be interviews. There's going to be speeches. There's going to be reflection questions, just a whole bunch of wonderfulness on how to turn your pain into power. So get with us, guys, and I will see you. I love you, Lorena.
Love you.
Thank you for coming, my love.
Thank you for having me. See you guys all soon. See you on the 18th.
Yes, baby cakes.
Bye.
Bye. And stay tuned, because I'm about to interview another author.